So I have all the time in the world. And all of your lovely names are right here in front of me, so I can call on you without really knowing you, but I do know most of you, so that will make things easier. If you are sitting in a meeting with a corporate sponsor and they ask you what your local chapter could do for them, so not JCI as a whole, just your local chapter, what would you say to them? Go ahead, Nick.
So I know in the past, asking businesses for their help with things, we post them on our social media. Specifically with the food truck festival, we give them recognition. We make announcements thanking our sponsors, name them, and depending on their level of sponsorship, they're part of our banner, and putting them on the physical things that we're handing out to people, whether that be a flyer or a pamphlet and things like that.
So you offer social media recognition in exchange for what you need from them.
Right. Yes.
Okay. So that's Low Country Jaycees. Somebody else can go. Spartanburg, Newberry. Let's see here, who else is listed in here? Greenwood, Abbeville. So you're sitting in a room with a local sponsor, potential local sponsor. What can your local chapter do for them?
Heather, I have one.
Go ahead.
You could do like a community service project with them. So if like in Spartanburg, there's the like Adopt a Road or whatever, or Spot of Pride, like you could work with them to update that or part of their like cleanup or help them paint or something like that.
Okay, yep. And then Mike said give their employees, members a chance to gain volunteer and leadership experience. All right, so let's branch out. So you are sitting with the corporate sponsor for your second meeting, and you've decided to say, well, we're not just a local organization, we actually are a member of a state, national, and international organization. How would you describe what this organization could do for them from the top to bottom? It's not a trick question either. Amy said, I'm going to assume it's Amy since I see her lovely face, even though the name says Amy and Brandon. We show the opportunity. We have to promote them as a state, national, and yeah, so we have to show that opportunity. What is that opportunity? What does this organization have to offer a sponsor? Go ahead, Jeremy, and then Nick.
So I think it shows them that we're able to actually, it's that reach that we have, our social media reach and things like that, that we're able to reach people all around the state, not only just in the small community. I think a big part of it relies on the type of sponsor you're looking at, though, where a small restaurant isn't really going to care that you can reach people all across the state and the country, but other people might if it's something that they can service people all around the country. So but exposure to everybody is kind of the idea.
Okay, Nick.
So not just within the organization with trainings, our personal and professional development trainings, giving them that experience to kind of improve improve the customer experience, because generally they're dealing with other customers. We can provide that to their employees, but also the national network we have that maybe there's another like business they'd like to be in touch with, but haven't necessarily reached out in that direction. And we have that opportunity nationally and internationally, to be able to put them in touch with those businesses as well if we have connections.
Okay. And then Mike said life experience, new skills, exposure, potential opportunity to travel. Yeah, we used to offer potential to travel. You are right. So generally speaking, and well, not generally, 10 out of 10 times when you are sitting down with a corporate sponsor, they want to know not only what you can do for them, but they're going to expect something that they need to bring to the table for you. So when you go into a corporate sponsor, you should have a list, whether it's sitting down in front of you or at least in your head, of a minimum that you want to walk away from. So you always traditionally ask for double that. So if you want or need $1,000, you're going to go in and ask for probably $3,000. It's the same way with foundation grants or any type of money requested. If you want volunteers or members or people to come to an event, everything should be slightly exaggerated when you're going in to sit for a corporate sponsor. You should never go into a corporate sponsor meeting with only a list of things that you can offer them. For starters, we are a membership-based organization. When I sat through my first JCI executive team training last year, Scott Greenlee was our trainer, and he said, and he had a big bag, like a giant bag of M&Ms on everyone's table, and he said that M&M is what matters the most, membership and money. So when you go into a corporate sponsor, you should be thinking membership and money on how they can help you as a local organization. But we all pay dues to an international organization. So what does that look like, and what do they do for us as an organization from the top down? So we do pay staff, and we have a ton of international officers who are in charge of corporate sponsors for the national and local level. So I used to do all PowerPoint slides, and then I realized at the end of it, the majority of the questions were, well, where's that stuff in the JCI, on the JCI website? So I've stopped doing PowerPoints, and I just go straight to the JCI website, so that I can kill two birds with one stone, because the information I would put on a PowerPoint is all right here. So if you click the library, so all of you should be able to see the website here. Yes? You all can see the JCI website? Okay, good. So if you go to library and international resources and then partners, these are the international partners that we have right now. So technically speaking, you all should be able to go to your local group here. So ISIC is at colleges and universities. It is a college-based group, and they essentially have the exact same mission as we do, except they are college students. The goal of this partnership is to feed automatically into our organization when they graduate. I actually was part of this MOU back in 2017 when I was national president. I went to their national event out in Texas, I think, in 2017. So this group is an amazing group. They're very young and energetic and know all the gadgets and gizmos that Marley was talking about earlier in her social media training. And they are all about the international mindset that our organization has to offer. And that is one thing that is real key when we are looking at partners, because we are an international organization, and a lot of the younger generation has a save the world mindset. They don't think locally or even regionally as much as they do internationally. So this partnership makes sense for us. So I would encourage, if you do have a local university nearby, is to see if they have a chapter of this organization. I do believe both Clemson and USC do. I do not know if some of the smaller universities do, but they are a membership-based organization as well. So they are looking to start chapters at local colleges, just like we are looking to start chapters in local areas as well. So they have a similar structure of, I believe they're more regional than state. So they have a regional board and a national board and an international board similar to us. They are a great partner and group if you're looking to get more Gen Z or whatever the next gen is after Z involved in the organization. BNI is the business networking. This is actually a pretty brand new partnership. We just finalized it at the end of last year. I had the privilege of listening to the CFO or CEO or whoever he is at our January board meeting this past year. And during the pandemic, they grew by 20% of their members across the world. So they're doing something right. And so I don't know exactly what they're doing, but they are interested in sharing their practices with us. So we do have a lot of BNI groups here in South Carolina. So I would definitely look at this MOU and reach out to your local BNI groups. They know who we are. They're one of the few groups that know who our organization is. If you were around when we did like Relay for Life, you could walk in and they would have no idea who the Jaycees were. BNI knows who JCI is. I will say that they know us by JCI, not the Jaycees. So just be mindful of that when you're talking to them. But this local corporate group is a strong partnership for us, and they are looking on how to develop and grow the sustainable development goals in local communities. So again, be mindful of what they're looking for and what we do. So they are looking to reach the sustainable development goals in local communities. So you would need to review the sustainable development goals produced by the UN and how your chapter can assist and develop a project or program and partner with BNI. Another key thing for partnerships is knowing what you can and can't do. One thing I can say is don't ever oversell or undersell your chapter. Don't commit man hours or money that you don't have. We'll go on to the UN, that'll go into that. So the Millennium Development Goals are the new ones. So this is what BNI focuses on. And they all definitely work within our local communities. So eradicate extreme poverty and hunger, achieve universal primary education, promote gender equality, reduce child mortality, improve mental health, combat HIV, AIDS, malaria, and other diseases. Obviously, that was done before COVID. Ensure environmental sustainability, develop a global partnership for development. So this is looking at corporate sponsors for all of this. So if you look in your local community, one of these should have some sort of interest or gauge in with your local chapter that you could partner with BNI on how to do a program or a project for. Again, this is all about not reinventing the wheel. I know probably some people thought that this training was going to be how can you walk in and solicit a corporate sponsor, and we will get to that. But I also wanted to show you that there are corporate sponsors and tools and resources available at your fingertips so that you don't have to necessarily reinvent the wheel. And some people are probably thinking, well, these things seem super large and big, and we live in a small town or community. But that's what these were developed for. Third world countries are using these. There's hunger and environmental issues everywhere. So there are ways to utilize these programs and partners. The Kiwanis is an older MOU. It was one that did not really take off as well as I think people were hoping to. We do still officially have it, but we are moving more into the partnership with BNI. The Kiwanis was definitely more of one looking for our members as they aged out to join the Kiwanis and grow their membership, which doesn't necessarily mean it doesn't work, but we are more of the feeding program into their membership versus them into ours. So I would look to them more as man hours and bodies that you need help for volunteers, not necessarily people who are going to join our organization. Let's see here. These other two, I am kind of embarrassed to say I don't really know much about. But you all can research those at your leisure. So now we're going to go into soliciting your corporate sponsors yourself. So this is the sheet that I kind of came up with. And again, none of this ever should be a lot of work or super fancy. So I looked up in about 20 minutes, every mayor, obviously Rufus typed on this too, in the area where we have local chapters. And then I even looked up a couple areas where we were looking to have chapters. So like Anderson and Columbia. And this is always a good place to start. And the way I start out these conversations, so I had a lunch with 10 Miles with Trey and Marianne a couple weeks ago. And the conversation essentially goes like this. We have a handful of volunteers, local leaders in the community. We are a membership-based organization. So what we are looking to do is to have partner with a project where we can benefit you, the mayor, and the community, but also gain members. So you're very open and transparent about what you're looking for. We are looking to grow our membership. And sometimes that's just how you have to be. And then, Nick, y'all have several mayors because you're the Low Country, but this is just the one that I know.
Stephen is a member of our chapter as well.
Yeah, and he's a member. Hold on one second. Hello? Yeah. My boss just called me. So yeah, Stephen is a member. So it's really, how can the number of members you have? So Trey, Mary, and I were very honest and upfront. We have just a handful. Even it doesn't matter what your membership roster says. How many people do you know will show up? We have a handful. And we want to grow our members. So the people that email you or call you and say, I want to get involved in the local community, we want access to them. And so we've come up with a project in April where we will work with the beautification committee to help do some sort of area of Casey or West Columbia, Casey, and beautify that area. And then at the end, have access to the group that they invite, cross social media platforms of sharing this and inviting people and so forth. But you have to know what you want out of that meeting before you even go in there. So you can't just go in there thinking they're going to tell you what they're willing to give you. What do you need? We need members. So Casey, West Columbia doesn't necessarily need money, not to say we would turn down money, but we need members. So that's what we went in as the goal for. We want access to the people emailing the mayor, emailing the city council, emailing local government on how to get involved. And that's who we want them to invite. So that's what you really need to sit down and realize or recognize and make a list of. Second of all, you need to not oversell your chapter. So like we could have said we have however many members in the database, 30 or 25 or 50, whatever it is, but that those people won't show up. We're not willing to spend any money on this project, but maybe some marketing and advertisement information. So we didn't even offer money for this project. And this is what came out of it. So you have to be realistic on number one, what you want, and number two, what you're willing to give. And don't over or undersell your chapter. Are there any questions about meeting with the mayor? And it's just a simple phone call or email. I have a group of young, dedicated leaders that want to do something in the community to help you. Can we meet? I've never been told no, because the mayor always has something that needs to be done that he or she does not have the resources to do. So you are essentially saying, I want to take something off your plate and make you a rock star by getting it done. The key is to do it and to not do it. Like we've had chapters drop the ball and say they were going to host an event or do an event, and the mayor shows up and no one's there. So, you know, obviously whatever you commit to doing, you have to do as a chapter. So are there any questions about meeting the mayor and how to go about that? Obviously, some of these will be easier than others, like Tim and Stephen and Trey, Edwards.
I feel as though, like, for us specifically, like it would be, you know, it's fairly easy to meet with Stephen. But if you could give me an example of a conversation, like what things would be brought up when discussing terms, you know?
Yeah, so when discussing terms, it's definitely obviously with Stephen and your chapter specifically, I would say you want to grow your membership and maybe the exposure of the food truck festival, or just let's say those are two examples. So I would ask him for access to his social media platform or whoever's in charge of his social media to help cross promote the event. And then I would also say, do you have people emailing you? Like I just asked him, do you have people emailing you how to get involved in the local community, especially during these times of COVID and what's going on? And he said, yes. So I would say, could you make our chapter the group that you push them towards? So instead of, yeah, the city's hosting this, that, and the other, the Low Country Jaycees are hosting this, that, and the other. But the key thing is you have to have events and programs and meetings and opportunities that are going to be enticing to these people. So in order for him to be able to say, I want to shift you over to our, you know, give you to the Low Country Jaycees, you all have to have the meetings and events and trainings and opportunities. So that's why I asked those questions at the beginning of the training. So what does our organization do? Well, we provide development opportunities that empower young people to create positive change. Well, what is that? It's whatever you want it to be. So it's designed to be vague. Do they want to learn more about whatever it is? And yes, we have someone that can teach them about that. Do we have international, national, and state opportunities? Yes. So it's showing the members or the potential members what this organization has to offer but then also allowing them to participate in those events. So it's not just saying we do these things, it's pointing them in the direction. And sometimes it's not even things that you have to do, because the world lives on these computers and these types of platforms. JCI Michigan is hosting this training, and 5 of our potential members said they were interested in it. JCI Finland is hosting this activity, and people said they were interested in learning more about whatever goes on in Finland, and directing them. It's about connecting them to what this organization has to offer. So I would first start out with making a list of things that you're willing to do or promote in your chapter, researching things that are going on in other states and countries that you could direct people to participate in. And then when the mayor, so Stephen, says, okay, I can give you access to these 20 people who have been asking to get more involved, you can say, hey, 20 people, these are the opportunities this organization has to offer. So it takes some upfront work to show that we have things going on, and that they're not just joining a chapter that's waiting for COVID to pass, because that's not where we are right now. It's not about waiting for COVID to end. It's how we can get these people engaged during COVID. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense.
Okay, great. Are there any other questions? That was a great question. Are there any other questions before we move on? So obviously everyone is looking to land that one big corporate sponsor that's going to help offset the budget or provide a bunch of members that want to be active and engaged. And I could sit here and tell you that that's something that is realistic, but for those of you who know me, know that I'm very upfront and honest. That's just not something that is realistic this day and age. But I did list out a few kind of larger corporations in South Carolina. I did some research. So again, this all took me, this one sheet, and the reason it's so kind of not fancy. One, I'm not super technologically advanced, but 2, I wanted to show that this really is something that is easy to do and is not time consuming. So there's a reason for the simplicity of it. I did a little bit of research but while getting ready for this, and found 3 sort of larger corporations in South Carolina. There are more. I just didn't go into the details of it. So I looked up the BMW Corporation in Greer, Denny's in Spartanburg, and Blackbaud in Charleston. So we don't have a chapter too near the BMW, and we have Spartanburg, but we could have Greenville, and we've had Greer in the past, and then Denny's in Spartanburg and Blackbaud in Charleston, which we don't have a chapter there, but we do have some resources to restart a chapter there. All 3 of them had information on their website about how they get involved in the community. Hold on one second. There's somebody in the chat. Oh, Spartanburg County. Okay, good. I thought it was in Spartanburg, but the location on the Google kept saying Greer. I was like, that's not right. But yes, I'm more or less looking at the one right there on 385, right as you get on to 385 from whatever, 26. Didn't get that. So all of them had 3 things that this organization, JCI, has been promoting, and that is, number 1, COVID relief. So how can they get COVID relief to the local communities? So all 3 of those have resources and some sort of charitable section on their website, and these are the actual links and contact. Blackbaud has a Build a Better World. Some of their goals will look very similar to what I just showed you with the Sustainable Millennium Development Goals with the UN. BMW actually has an entire section on diversity, which JCI USA has taken an active role in. So you'll see some of these same goals and ideas in the local community that our organization, from the national to state to local level, and even with Blackbaud, the international level, are looking to do. So it really just takes a little bit of research and time to say, wow, these people have the resources and the want to partner with groups. And then you have to just get in front of them and say, this is what our organization has to offer, which is what we all just went through. So we are developing young leaders for a changing world. That's one of our taglines. That's one of the goals and the missions of this organization. They are looking to build a better world. We are obviously trying to do as much COVID relief as we can. So are they. They obviously have deeper pockets, but they don't have the boots on the ground and a grassroots level to do that. We do. So how could we partner to do that together? They are looking to build a more diverse world in corporate America. We have a diversity committee looking at diversity in NGOs and in our own type of organization. So how can we work together to make sure that we are being diverse across the board? All of these things we could look at on what they could do for us and what we can do for them. But again, we are also looking for membership and money. So how can those people join our organization? And that just comes from showing them our platform and what we have to offer. The travel, the network, the opportunities such as these trainings, other trainings that we have to promote. But it also comes down to you having a calendar of events to offer these people. A lot of people will say, well, we're waiting for COVID to start meeting again. We're waiting for COVID to do all of these things. You have to stop waiting. COVID isn't passing anytime soon. So how can your local organization build a calendar of events that looks just as full and enticing as it did pre-COVID? It's not going to be as fun. It's going to be sitting on a computer doing these things. But if you offer a true value and stick to that calendar of events, you will see people wanting to get more involved because they want something to do. So I would challenge each and every one of you to take a look at these 3 organizations. I can send these links out. But also go above that. I just did the top 3 that I found in a Google search. I just literally Google searched corporations in South Carolina. There were tons more. There was Amazon, there was a Walmart distribution, there were tons in the Charleston area. These were just happened to be the top 3. Michelin, yeah, exactly. There's so many. I just wanted to show the simplicity of it and how easy it is to find the information and how to access it. So are there any questions about corporations and sitting down with corporations? Obviously, one of the biggest things I can also say is if you do get a meeting with one of these companies for your local chapter and or the state, don't do it alone. You all come from a state that has so many resources of people who have held so many positions in this organization. You have the national president, you have a past national president, you have several NVPs and past NVPs that know this organization. And it's not because you don't, but it's to show the true value and network that this organization has to offer. I would definitely want you, when it comes to corp, who should be reaching. So that's a good question. So we'll click on one of these. I don't know if I think I have to stop sharing and then reshare. So this is Denny's and this is the contact. So this is what came up. So if you want to go into, if you would like to submit sponsorship or partnership proposal, please click here. So this one was super easy. I just looked under contacts and I just looked around to see where they could have any sort of sponsorships or any kind of proposals for something like this. If you want to do some cross social media, there's that one. This one with Denny's was really easy and user friendly. BMW, they have a whole committee here. So I went to their charity events. They have some huge charity golf tournament, but then they also have South Carolina Charities group. They have a whole tournament staff. Obviously, this is for their golf tournament, but they must do something else because they have a whole South Carolina Charities group here. So that's what I looked up. I just looked up contact us, and I started just looking around for anything to do with nonprofit, COVID relief, or charities. And I read through all of this the other day when I was preparing for this. So that's who I would reach out to. Good question. Are there any other questions about charities or corporations, not charities? Are there any other questions in general about sharing this organization? There were some light responses on sharing what this organization is with other people. Well, I definitely challenge everyone to go look around the JCI website about the sponsors or corporate sponsors that we already have. We do have a paid staff person that does nothing but corporate sponsors, so don't totally reinvent the wheel. Look at what we already have, and then I would reach out to your local mayor and set up a meeting and see how you can partner with them on an idea or project, especially coming through the COVID relief time. And if you have any questions or need help with any of this, if you do get a corporate sponsor or someone that wants to sit down and talk, I am always here to help in any way I can with those types of meetings and explaining the organization from the grassroots level to the international level and every level in between. And at this time, I'm happy to answer any questions. Other than that, that's what I have.
Heather, would you be willing to share a sample email that maybe you've sent to a mayor in the past, just so we can see kind of what that wording looks like? Because for me, that's always the biggest part is how do I get the mayor to actually open this email that I'm sending them?
Yeah, so I usually don't send an email initially. I usually call and leave a message and then follow up with an email. So I know that phone calls are kind of old school, but that's pretty much how the political system works, or at least you're able to get a little bit more response time. So I always call and initially leave some sort of message with a staff member, and then I send an email, and I usually title it something catchy, something like volunteers, our leadership opportunity, or volunteers looking for something to do, like something that's going to catch their eye in the sense of we're here to help you. And I usually go into something along the lines of, my name is Heather. I am with the KC West Columbia Jaycees or South Carolina Jaycees or whoever I was emailing on behalf of at the time. I have a group of young leaders between the ages of 18 to 40 that are looking to help you on an initiative in the community. We would like some FaceTime with you on how we can help you accomplish one of your goals you set out to do at the beginning of your term as mayor. I have, 10 people who are looking to make some sort of impact on something that you find important. Make it more about them. That's the way politicians are. Then when you get into the meeting with them, it's okay, but we also are a membership-based organization who are looking to grow. These are the things our organizations do. Do you know anyone of like mind that would want to join us as well? So don't include that in the email. You do that when you get there.
Okay, awesome. That's helpful. I'll be emailing in the next couple days. Sorry, our visiting puppy is needing attention. Anyone else have any other questions for Heather? Nope. Okay, Heather, thank you so much. This was a great training. We appreciate you jumping on. We know you got a million things that you've got to do every day. So thank you for helping us out today.
No problem.
Yep. Awesome. Thank you so much, Heather.
Of course.
So the next thing on the agenda